Our next organic macromolecule are lipids. Lipids are fats and oils, a polymer that is nonpolar and hydrophobic. So the subunits or the monomers of lipids are fatty acids and glycerol. The one that you probably have to recognize on a test is this one right here, which is also this picture in its structure with the carbons and the hydrogens and oxygens, so you can see it. It's called a triglyceride. Tri meaning three fatty acids, and one glycerol, triglyceride. So lipids are hydrophobic, which means they do not want to mix with water. In our bodies, we use lipids to store energy on a long-term basis. So we do have something called fat cells. In those fat cells, we store fat. And the purpose of that fat is that if you are in a starvation situation where you are not eating, your body would have a place to go to break down the fat and turn it into energy. So that's what we have those fat cells for. Our cell and plasma membrane, a cell membrane or a plasma membrane, same word, also has something called a phospholipid, which surrounds all of our cells. So down here on the bottom is what is a phospholipid. A phospholipid has a phosphate head and it has two lipid tails. So the phosphate head is hydrophilic, and so it'll be having water on this side. And then if you have it flipped, you have the heads on that side touching the water. Inside are the lipids, the oil that doesn't want to touch the water. That's hydrophobic. So our cells and most cells have a cell membrane called made out of a phospholipid bilayer. Bilayer means two. So one layer of phospholipids, second layer of phospholipids. Other reason to have fat in our body is actually it helps cushion or insulate our vital organs. So we do have oil or fat around some of our important organs that kind of keeps them a little bit safer. So that's what that's about. Structure and steroids. So cholesterol. You've probably heard about cholesterol if you listen to Cheerios ads, and it talks about how it's good for you and it keeps your cholesterol down. So steroids or cholesterol is also found in your body, and it is a type of lipid. And then wax is also a type of lipid. So the earwax in our ears is there to keep water out of our body and also to keep any other foreign object from getting into our inner ear. So wax is also a lipid your body produces. I mentioned triglyceride on the other screen, right? Triglyceride is another name for a fat. Triglycerides are very small forms of fat that are found in our blood and that run through our bloodstream. So doctors often try to check your triglyceride level in your blood to make sure it's not too high. Phospholipids, here's the definition, where it is, it's making up the cell membrane. It's two fatty acids attached to a glycerol and a phosphate. Saturated fat, you probably have heard this, or unsaturated fat, something that they sell at food or mark on food packages if it contains saturated or unsaturated fat. Saturated fat means it has the maximum number of hydrogen ions, and that means it's found as a solid at room temperature. So most fats from animals are saturated fat. Like our bodies have saturated fat. When we eat other animals and we eat the fat, not just the muscle, that fat is saturated. So here's a picture of saturated, all the H's, it's full. Unsaturated fats means that it's missing a few hydrogen atoms, and it makes them liquids at room temperature. And so most plants contain unsaturated fats, and they look like this down here. And this is why some people would say like avocados have healthy fat and bacon has unhealthy fat, right? So avocados have unsaturated fat and bacon is saturated fat. So we can find, where are we going to get our lipids from? If we eat the fat that is on mussels, if we use lard, which is just melted fat, in cooking our food, if we, just actually eat an oil, like you have olive oil or vegetable oil. Dairy products contain lipids. Most meats have some sort of fat in them, so that would have a lipid. And nuts also are made out of an oil from the plant, and so that's also made out of lipids. Lipids, notice the number here is 9 calories per 1 gram of fat or oil. So the math is a little harder here. If you eat 10 grams of an avocado, you are getting 90 calories of energy. And that finishes out lipids.